So this comes from Baneful Magic, Chapter 5, Candle Magic Curses. There exist in the physical world three great gateways between the realms of matter and spirit: blood, water, and fire. These three can be said to exist not fully in one plane nor the other, but are in between planes. Through any of these three mediums, the sorcerer can send himself into the spiritual realms, bypassing the need for standard methods of astral projection or bilocation. These gateways open in both directions, however, and through them, spiritual powers can be pulled to earth to take form in this world, or energies can be sent back through to seed themselves in the formative plane and to become reality. Now, I just want to pause there. So that's just the introduction. There are three gateways, three major gateways that can allow you access to the furthest realms. That these gateways, when present in a magical state, actually act as a medium through which you can pass into the other world, and the other world can pass into this world. Now, in this conversation today, I'm going to discuss how to utilize these three elements of fire, water, and blood, how these can be utilized safely and effectively to create a magical gateway between the worlds. I'm then going to go a bit deeper than that, and I'm going to tell you about how you can corrupt these elements, corrupt these gateways for the rights of blasphemy and the greater and deeper rights of black magic. Further, I'm going to tell you about how this lines up with literal portals that exist in different spheres in our universe, in our visible universe. I'm going to tell you about three stars, each of which link to each of these gateways that I believe can be physically accessed to physically pass between dimensions. And so we're just going to jump right into all of that. Excuse me. Astarte Astro Rolf, I was hoping you would be here today. Hello, hello, hello. By the way, the light that was flickering in our as we were talking about Azazel and all that, my beautiful ring light is kaput. It flickered its last flicker and now it's out of flickers. And so I've actually got a new ring light on the way. So I hope you guys don't mind the stranger umbrella light that I've got lighting me today. And then Zarafina, thank you for your support in all the ways that I know you support me. I appreciated them all. You say, how about combining these? How about combining those? For example, a ritual bath with a drop of your own blood and a lit candle. What are your thoughts on combining? Oh yes, yes, I know. I think this is actually great. And you know, one thing to know about the element of blood or the gateway of blood, you don't have to really do much of anything. You yourself contain all of the blood you'll ever need. This is one thing I want to make very clear from the onset. Because as I was looking into this topic and researching it, how to use blood as a gateway, well, a lot of the references were to sacrifice. And yes, you can use sacrifice. You can use animal sacrifice, of course. You don't use human sacrifice. We all know that. But you know, some people will use animal sacrifice. I will for sure sacrifice food animals like a chicken, and I will eat it and usually use the bones and every piece of the animal as well, and you know, slaughter it humanely and all of that. But for the purposes of this discussion and for the purposes of opening the gateway, I'm more concerned about using our own blood. Your blood is the absolute strongest blood that you can use in your rituals, because it does not only does it activate whatever you put it on, which it does absolutely activate the magical essence of anything that your blood is put on. It links that directly to you, to your DNA, to who you uniquely are, because your blood is not like anybody else's. Yeah, Astarte, you were right. You say Azazel and I burned your light out. You sure did. You sure did, and I appreciate it. That was, I had so much fun with you guys out here for that boot camp. Thank you again for taking the time and making the investment to come out here. It was so awesome, so awesome. And I know it was a transformative experience for all of us. Now, Nick says I've been thinking about using the three gateways, blood, water, and fire in this Samhain. do it. I was thinking about doing some offering rituals and divination rituals, giving offerings. Oh, okay, so let's jump into this more. Okay, let's go a little further here. In ritual, this gateway is ordinarily accessed through fire, which sits atop a wax candle. In candle magic, a ritualist lights a candle. Okay, I'm just going to skip over that. So that's just basically candle magic 101 here. Um, but all right, so that basically tells us all we need from that. So that was just mainly for the introduction there. But now I'm going to jump into Works of Darkness, my first book written as E.A.Koetting. My very first book was Kingdoms of Flame, which was written as Baron or Archelus Baron. So, that was not the one I was looking for. Uh-oh. Okay. Excuse me while I flip to the correct page here. Here we are. This world was initiated into power not by the breath of God, but by fire. The ancient link between fire and spiritual or self-awareness is beyond dispute. The first religious ritual that was recorded in the Old Testament was Abel's burnt offering to God, a rite that is not specific to Judaism. While Moses spoke to God through the medium of a burning bush, inhabitants of what is now South America would incinerate strips of paper covered in their blood. From the flames, the vision serpent would arise to carry the shaman from his body into the world of energy and spirit. Fire is the supreme tool of the gods. It is the gateway between the worlds, neither here nor there, but precisely in between. In religious mythology throughout time and geography, fire has both acted as the mouth or the ear of the divine, either instructing man through the visions in the flame or sending his desires into the realm of creation. Rituals involving bonfires, pyres, and fiery mandalas will be learned, practiced, and mastered in your later operations of black magic. Presently, however, the ancient magical fire will be consecrated upon the wick of the candle. And so this once again just introduces into candle magic. But I kind of plucked these because it was obvious that these concepts of these three gateways was really being impressed upon me, even in some of my earlier days of working through these thoughts. Now, it goes pretty far and deep. We know that the alchemical elements are fire, water, earth, air, and spirit. Now, that's fine for alchemy, and that's fine for a balanced Kabbalistic system. But what about when we're looking into the systems of black magic? The triangle and triad seems to turn up more and more frequently, especially as we turn more towards the left-hand path. Sets of three and three gateways are perfectly balanced. And this does get into even formative alchemy, because in formative alchemy you have sulfur, mercury, and salt. And we can actually align sulfur, mercury, and salt, I'm sure. So let's do this right now. So sulfur is obviously going to be aligned with fire, mercury is going to be aligned with water, and salt is going to be aligned with blood. That's right. That sounds right to me. Yeah, so even that is perfectly aligned as the foundational elements. So yes, I would like to know from you guys. Oh, and the start date says boot camp completely changed my life. That is so amazing. I'll tell you what, it changes my life every time I do it. Now, Fabrizio says, so just buying a chicken wouldn't be as effective as starting by getting a live one. Um, it depends on, honestly, it depends on what you're going for. There's a voodoo ritual, for instance, in which you get two chickens, sacrifice them, drain their blood, toss that out, or use that for some other ritual. But for this ritual, that you're just holding the chickens over incense and over a veve, and letting a spirit possess those chickens. You then eat the flesh of the chickens over 3 days. You basically eat nothing but chicken for 3 days, and then you use the bones for divination bones. Now, for a ritual like that, where or in an operation like that, where my real intention is to be able to eat the flesh of the chicken and to get the bones. I'm going to be honest with you. I just use rotisserie chickens for that. I go down to the grocery store that they've already got the pre-cooked rotisserie chickens, and then I go through the ritual of imbuing those beautiful plump rotisserie chickens with the spirit that I'm calling upon for that divination. And then I've still got the chicken, the flesh that I eat, the spirit that I consume in that flesh. The bones are still there. Where I didn't need the blood, I don't need to do the sacrifice. And somebody else has already basically done that sacrifice for me. Now, if you need the blood for a specific thing, that's a different story entirely. So it's really a matter of what you're looking for, what your intention is, and what here's one thing I'm going to tell you cutting the head off of a chicken or any animal in itself is not going to supercharge your rituals at all. That really that I think there's a specific context that would need to be in play, and specifically, I don't find honestly much of a use of blood sacrifice from animals at all outside of African traditional religions. So outside of voodoo or Vodun, outside of Kimbanda and that, if that's part of those traditions, that's great. I don't necessarily think that that is part of modern black magic tradition. Is animal sacrifice. Now again, I've done it. I have performed animal sacrifice in those traditions mainly. So yeah. Now Zerafina says, EA, do you believe that curses can be reversed? You can reverse a curse that you've put on somebody, or I'm sorry, if somebody puts a curse on you, you can reverse it and flip it around on that person for sure. If I've cursed somebody though, I can never really take it back, if that's what you mean. If I've cursed somebody, it's here's the way that I was told to think about a curse. That trying to take back a curse is about the same as taking a pillow and cutting it open and scattering the feathers into the wind and then trying to collect the feathers and put them back in the pillow. So that's why you have to be very careful with baneful magic. All right, I'm just gonna catch up. What's up, Johnny? Johnny Rugnow. How's it going? Give me a 1 if you're happy today, Johnny. Give me a 2 if it's kind of a crappy day. Give me a 3 if it's just kind of so-so. I love you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Now, Crown says something that is big here, and this is one of the things that that I had in my mind when I was saying that you're always carrying your blood around with you. Is Crown says period blood is the most powerful in my opinion. It definitely can be. It definitely can be. Now, I am going to say your own period blood is really powerful. That is your blood, and that is a sacred and special kind of blood. Now, I know some black magicians that are really intent on like getting women's menstrual blood and using that as in their magical rites and whatever. Okay, maybe that's all right. I really do. One of the things I do want to impress upon you in this conversation is for the gateway that's provided, your blood works the absolute best. Rather than taking somebody else's menstrual blood, that's not going to work for me as well as just pricking my finger and using that. So, yes. Goddess Dra I'm gonna try with your name here to Goddess Drakena. I like that. How do you tell if someone is real or fake? Got to get to know them. That's the thing. Is like one of the things I say is nobody really you don't really know me until you've sat at my dinner table, and so that's the metric I use for everyone else. If you haven't sat at my dinner table, or I haven't sat at your dinner table, we really don't know each other that well. Not well enough for me to make a judgment as to whether you're real or fake. Because here's the problem that we get into. Whatever the presentation of an individual is to you, well, that's fake in some way. And in some way it's also real. There's always going to be a mix of those. So I think everybody is a little real and a little fake. And it really depends on the circumstances. But until they've sat at my dinner table and shared a meal with me, I can't really pass judgment on people. Now, once you have sat at my dinner table, though, it is open game. Nah, just kidding. All right. So see what we got here. Three. All right. So Johnny says three. I'm currently having an influx of energy on par with five rights of deification, all supercharged. That's awesome. Cool. And then Arwen says somebody told me that other bodily fluids are way better for baneful magic. Makes sense if you ask me. I don't want to share my blood with my quarry. Wouldn't mind drowning them in other fluids though. Okay, no, so you were completely right. So urine, for an example, can be used as a very powerful catalyst in curse work. Some people use feces, their own feces, in curse work. I don't go there. I don't start smearing sigils with feces. You're welcome to do whatever you want. I say that's gross. So yeah, but I've been known to piss on people's graves before. So yeah. Oh, LV Alchemist. I don't know if I said hello to you yet, but hello, LV Alchemist. Dude, I have been gotten so carried away busy. I am gonna get to looking through your stuff, and we're gonna get this on the road. Love you, brother. But yeah, you can definitely use semen, any kind of anything that is coming off of your body, any part of your body can be used for all kinds of different magic. Now, if you look into let me actually before I just start free flowing here, let me turn back over here. This is from my chapter on vampirism. What did I call this? Oh, sorry. Excuse me while I find my place. So it's chapter 11, Blood Ritual from Works of Darkness. This book is also banned, I believe, on Amazon. So I'm reading banned books to you today. Um, I guess I've been a bad boy, telling people the truth about shit. So, blood and ritual. The exact uses of blood in ritual are innumerable, and each serves only to heighten the power that these works of darkness hold. While only human blood is to be ingested for the empowerment of the vampire, the blood of a serpent, dove, or any mammal, and one's own blood are also potent catalysts for ritual. And then I talk about drinking blood, and that's something ND Blackwood and I jumped on a conversation recently that I think is going to be filtered out to the public here soon, talking about this that really the consumption of blood to get the benefit of the energy of it goes to the wayside really really quickly when you learn how to just get right to the energy of it. So I'm going to actually I'm going to fully advise against drinking blood or consuming blood to get the energy out of it. What I am going to say is it's really easy to just feed off of people's energy directly. In fact, I'm sure that you have already done it already. Like every one of us has fed off of somebody's energy at some point, and either we knew it or we didn't. But it is super easy. uh Consuming blood carries so many risks that I'm going to advise against it. Um, but do what thou wilt. Okay, when the temple ground is sprinkled or soaked in fresh blood, the vital force that rises with the steam will fill the air with buzzing electricity. The powers that are then summoned into the temple will multiply. As they become locked with the thick particles of the air, the temple itself will become a storehouse of power. Sigils of death may be drawn in blood, the substance heralding the similar demise of the victim. Although the demons, and so this is one thing again to touch on the baneful magic application of this. So there are a lot of people that will use specific blood from specific animals for curses, and and now again, I don't recommend going and killing living animals. If you happen to find a rat, lop its head off and use the blood from a diseased or dead rat that's already dead, and use that dead blood in a curse. So there are some ways that you can twist that as well. I do want to recommend, as far as blood magic goes, I'm going to just throw a recommendation over to Sorceress Cagliostro. If y'all haven't checked out Sorceress Cagliostro, she is the ultimate expert on blood sorcery. The sorcerer's own blood may be caught on strips of paper and burned in the chalice, the smoke rising as a wicked prayer to the powers of darkness. From this, the vision serpent may arise from the smoke, which the sorcerer may behold if his vision has opened, and with which he may converse and commune and learn his destiny and the ways in which it will manifest. The chalice may also be filled with the blood of oneself or from one another and drank as a sweet wine before any ritual, an evil sacrament that will imbue the ritual with an ungodly force. Finally, the mixture of bat's blood oil, the blood of a rat, and fresh moss in the chalice or in a bowl that is placed within the triangle of manifestation will provide an excellent base upon which any entity evoked may materialize. So there you go. There's some basics of kind of how to use blood. Now, let me see what I wanted to read you from Questing After Visions. I didn't want to start underlining. I realized if I always underline every week, if I underline the thing I want to read to you, then it just kind of scribbles my entire book up. So, hmm. Well, in this part, I'm not sure what I had meant to read to you in this part, but this is talking about the scrying devices. Now, with scrying devices, whether it's a mirror or any other scrying device, these are actually simulating the gateway of water, and so um, water is probably used. Well, let's actually look at how these things are used traditionally in magic and in even in religion. That fire obviously as when you give an offering that you light on fire, which we do now and we have done for a very long time with incense. That it's always been known that the burning of incense is in itself a magical act, and it is an offering that we're giving either to spirits, to specific elemental energies as we release that through the fire. And then blood through blood offerings, through your own blood, and using blood to trace your excuse me, to trace your sigils. Again, a lot of ancient sources would use human or animal sacrifice. We don't do animals, or we don't do human sacrifice. And again, my thought is your blood's going to be much better than most other bloods. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and turn to the chat room here and see what you guys are talking about. See if I can. Uh, what what are you saying, Vixen? Naughty boy, go to Zerafina's room. What you talking about? Oh. How would you use urine, for example? Cleansing? Oh, Zerafina has she's got some crazy rituals that I hope she'll be able to reveal at some point. So yeah, Zerafina says urine is also good in hex removal and reversal protection. So yeah, no, let's so let me get back on track here. Water is going to be used. Oh, okay, so Robert Bruce and I had a conversation where he really enlightened me, I think, to water as being a universal medium and a really a clear channel for energy. One of his thoughts that I have yet to really test is that a compelling spirit, so a spirit that is possessing you or harassing you, a spirit that you don't want to have around you. So it's what Robert Bruce calls a neg, for negative spirit or negative entity. When you have a neg that's harassing you, that if you cross over water, it can't follow you. Now that's really interesting because there are a lot of different traditions like that say if you surround yourself in water, that other spirits can't come through that to you. And this is also part of the idea of baptism, that you immerse yourself in water, and then even the spirits of your own sins can then come off of you. And I know a lot of us have talked in this community, and especially in this room, a lot of us have talked about how we'll use baths, salt baths, magical baths as part of our regular psychic hygiene or a magical hygiene. And I know that for me, that's actually one of the that's one of the ways for me that I found I can really regulate myself if I'm getting out of control, out of whack in any way, is go swimming, go hang out at a lake, or just take a bath. And actually a bath rather than a shower where I'm actually fully immersed for moments of it. Mm. And now I'm going to turn now to, oh, before I do that, I also wanted to read to you from Spider and Green Butterfly, gazing into a sea of fire. There exist three great gateways between the worlds: water, fire, and blood. A bowl filled with cold water is often used as a scrying device by many seers, and while this is a definite gateway and also a window to other worlds, a bowl filled with fire is an even greater opening, the energy of it splitting the veil in two before the eyes of the Hungan. It's important that this practice is not confused with pyromancy. Pyromancy is the occult science of analyzing aspects of a flame in order to determine future events or in deciphering messages from the worlds of spirit. Here, as stated above, the fire itself is not being observed, but is simply acting as a gateway between the worlds, as a hole between the realms through which the observant and attuned sorcerer may look and see the goings on of other planes, or even the invisible activities within this plane. The past and the present may also be seen through this gateway, as well as various possible futures, depending on what actions are taken to steer the course of time in one's own favor. Whiskey or any other alcoholic substance can be used as a base for the fire to burn, although due to its sacred nature in Vodun practices, rum should be avoided in this practice. I'm going to actually stop there and say I don't know that I still agree with that. So having given this a lot of time, I actually have found that rum makes as a perfect fire base. If you're going to use rum or whiskey, however, it needs to be higher than regular proof. So you do have to get up to around 90 proof to really have a good fire base. So I just want to kind of clarify that piece. So that is set the fire, the alcohol on fire and allow the flames to peak inside the bowl. If you have undergone the ritual of La Bêtette, okay, I'll stop there because that gets out into the weeds now. But again, you can fill up a bowl of water and gaze into it and understand that you're not just looking into water, that you're actually peering through a window. You're actually looking to not just a window, but it's actually a portal, a gateway. Because as you look and you begin to see, if you're looking into and peering into an event that's happening, let's say somewhere else, you're not merely looking at it through the window. What's actually happening is your mind and your awareness transits to that place. It has actually acted as a portal between here and there. So, Deja Rain says, how to take some energy by laying hands on someone. Well, I opened that door by mentioning it, so I might as well finish it up and let you know how to do this, okay? Uh, okay, so I don't like one of the things I found is it absolutely does not work for me to just to pretend to be doing things, okay? So since I don't have another person here, my daughter's in the other room, but I'm not gonna call her in just to suck her energy. But okay, now that that's on neutral mode now, that's just kind of idling, but it does have enough energy radiating from it that I can touch the orb with my left hand and draw energy out. So this is basically going to be a human soul substitute. Okay. So for this, what you're going to do is simply touch the person. Let me turn that down a little bit. All right, so you can touch the person and then inhale. And as you inhale, you're going to pull. You're actually going to see if you can imagine at first pulling the light from that person's body. So this is the first level of, I think, vampirism. You're going to just pull the light from that person's body. Now, at first, it's going to seem like it's just your imagination. At first, you're not going to think you're actually doing anything, and then you're going to start feeling it. All right, you. then you're going to start feeling it. You're actually going to start feeling it tingling through your fingers. You're going to start feeling the physiological rush of energy into your system. So this is best done with somebody who knows you're doing it, a willing participant that you can just sit and touch for a few minutes while you're doing this. This can also be with somebody that, if you're holding somebody's hand and you don't mind stilling their energy, you can also practice this then. And now here's the important thing. With your inhalation, you pull the energy from the person. Now, as you exhale, don't just push it right back out your arm. So as you exhale, what one of the best things to do is to either store that energy somewhere else, like a blood pool or some you can even have you've got to have specific things to store this kind of blood in. You'd want to talk to ND Blackwood about all of that. But you can store the blood, or you can integrate it within yourself, and I'll do that through simply imagining myself glowing brighter with my exhale. So with your inhale, you pull in, with your exhale, you glow brighter. If you don't do that, if you don't do something with the energy once it's in you, and you just inhale, exhale, it's just going to come and go and come and go. And that's what we do normally when we're holding hands with somebody or anything like that, is we're just passing energy freely amongst each other, or between each other. But to actually take it and keep it, you do have to set the intention of keeping it and holding on to it, either integrating it into yourself or exiting that into a blood pool or something along those lines.